Looks like everyone's up bright and early this morning. And the chat box, there we go. Fun little morning.
If there was ever a case for manipulation, it's today. Man, they set this up perfectly. Whoops. Got everybody in on the long side and then just crushed it.
Yep. I was actually watching this one open up and I saw the little positive. I'm like, oh, interesting. We're below the cloud. We got a little positive volume come in. I was actually long for a very short bit and got some profit. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to last. And I took it out. Then I went short.
Yeah, well, you got to look at the 4 hour. Look how far we are above the cloud. Remember,
Right.
you want to sell above the cloud and buy below it. So
Yes, I got a little bit of both sides on that one.
yeah, I saw the volume too, but we were up, weren't we? We're up 100 points on the Dow this morning on the futures.
Yeah, it was wickedly separated. The spread was huge, if I remember right. I can only watch so many things now.
Yeah, and then it just fell apart. I mean, it's like I think it had something to do with industrial production numbers, but that's the excuse anyway. I think they just got everybody in long, and then they just shorted the heck out of it. Well, good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, David.
Good memories.
Good morning.
And you let me know when you're ready to be unmuted there, sir, if you want to have a conversation. Longboarder is our resident potential special guest today. I will unmute you, David. Good morning.
Hey, morning, guys. Can you guys hear me?
I got you loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody.
So for those, this is David. He is a private client that I'm working with in July here. So, and he's doing so well that he might turn around and become a trainer as well. He just recently got the swing bundle and he started testing it out. And he tested it in a hurry, and then he went straight to production, if I'm not correct. Or correct me if I'm wrong there, David.
Yeah, I saw the email come out, I guess, Monday, and I was really excited. I was really excited because last week, it was last week that Dan showed it to me over a conference call, and I was like, it blew my mind away. I mean, it really took a lot of, as Dave said, the interpretation out of the charts. It's like, there's certain things you'll see here with the system where it's telling you, hey, it's going to go up. There's no question about it. So it took a lot of that guesswork out, and it just works. Are there times that you're going to have to make a judgment call on the human side? Absolutely. It was one thing, I guess, watching Dave try this, use the system and watching him do it. And, as we all know, probably, watching Dave do something, it's easy, right? It always seems easy to me. But, even then, when I tried using it myself, I was trading with a lot of confidence. There were situations where I had to make a human judgment call. And those were situations where I had to step back and really just ask myself, what are the indicators telling me? What is the system telling me? What was it that, Dave showed us in the video? And then I was able to make a decision. Not all of my trades were, successful. And, that's just part of the process of, I guess, knowing the system, getting comfortable with the system, and, just basically trying to get used to a new car, so to speak. But yeah, that's about it. I'm no by no means a charting expert. I know no technical analysis. The only technical analysis I know of is how to draw a line between two dots. That's it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, David. So when you first started using it, I mean, what kind of things did you look for? I mean, did you basically follow the instructions that I gave in the videos, or did you say, hey, let me just kind of look at this with a fresh pair of eyes? What things in the system did you focus in on?
Well, before I used the system, I had already talked to Dan, and Dan showed me how he was using it. And of course, then when the system was released, I watched all of your videos from Strong Market's website. And the thing that stood out to me was, hey, if something is outside the Renko cloud, eventually it should come back into the Renko cloud. So that was the first indicator I looked for as far as entries. I'd also focused on, kept my eyeballs on the MT oscillator. If the fast line has crossed the slow line, the fast line being the yellow line, if that yellow line has crossed the green line, the slow lines, then that's possibly a good setup. And then I'd also use the synthetic volume as a confirmation as well. So those were how I started using that system. And it was pretty accurate. But I do have to say that, as you use the system more and more, you'll start to know, you'll start to see other patterns, other things that could help improve, perhaps entries and exits. I definitely saw that yesterday, my second day of using it. My first day, I just kept in mind, Dave, what you showed us in those videos on Strong Market, and that's how I started.
Great. So as far as your entry and exits, were you buying below the cloud and basically selling above with using the volume and the oscillator as kind of confirmations of that? Is that the idea?
Yeah, as far as, for the last 2 days, we had a lot. It was a strong bullish market for the last 2 days.
Right.
So a lot of my entries were to go long, and therefore a lot of times I would go long when the price was below the Renko cloud. And then I would sell once the price reached the top of the Renko cloud or exceeded the Renko cloud. I was very wary of taking short positions just because of how bullish the indicators were the last 2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And exactly where Dan is pointing there was a pretty good indication of an entry. We had an up signal, we had green volume, we had up volume, we had the crossover of the fast oscillator to the slow oscillator. So, basically, if you just look at the charts and you try to, everybody I think has a plan or a bias going into the day. Like today was a pretty good example. The futures were up over 100 points this morning on the Dow mini futures, and all of a sudden it just fell apart right at the open, But if you look at the 4-hour Renko SPX, the S&P 500, we were way above the cloud. And so I was anticipating, some sort of a pullback here. It was just too far away. But I'm so happy that you've been able to get the system and really kind of start using it right away with a good deal of success. If you don't mind sharing your numbers with us.
Yeah, it's incredible. So Monday, I netted about 1,900. My typical trade size is very small, just one full contract, and that's it. well, that was not Monday. That was Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday was my first day. Yesterday, Wednesday, I netted about 2,600.
Wow. Wow.
And you're trading one contract on which?
YM, NQ, and ES. And, if the setups are good on the charts for all three, I would go in on all three.
Okay. So sometimes you're long or short. Obviously, the last 2 days you've been long. But I also
Right.
that sometimes you're all three indicators, or sometimes it's only one or two, it sounds.
Correct. Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
well done, sir.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
If you could give us
in 2 days, that's not too shabby.
Yeah, yes, it's very, very good. It rivals my own success here. So, I think that I think a lot of people, especially those who teach, say that, well, gee, the success of the students is really kind of more important than your own success, and that's true. But I like to make money. So, but I'm definitely extremely happy that you did well with the system just in the first 2 days. That's absolutely amazing. And really kudos to you, because you had to, you're starting with a fresh, brand new system and you made it work right away. And that was kind of what I tried to build into the system in the first place, was to make it almost automatic. Not completely automatic, because you have to do, like you said, you have to make some decisions, but try to make it as automatic as possible so that you follow the signals and get confirmations for your trades. Can you give us a little bit of a background on yourself without revealing too much personal information? Just kind of like what kind of work have you done, or your background in trading?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the IT profession for about 10 years, a little bit over 10 years, about around that. So it's all I've done, pretty much all I know. I guess my start in trading started when I was very early, at the age of 19. My first book was the Motley Fool Investment Guy, and that was what sparked my interest. But at that time, I didn't have the capital to trade. I kind of gave up on that subject. But over the years, I have my main area of trading was buying stocks and holding them for a long time. Started with options not too long ago, based on a friend's recommendation. I quickly found out that going long calls, long puts, it was not easy at all. So I guess it was by kind of luck and accident, let me take a step back. So I started researching for other strategies, non-directional, directional neutral strategies and options trading. And that's where, I found Dave's Trading Pro system from 2008. And I thought that, when I first saw that, I had thought that was the greatest thing. And, not long after I finished, my intent was to try calendars, double calendars, but then I quickly stumbled upon the original near riskless trading system, right? So that blew my mind even more. But after I finished that, I stumbled upon Tradingology, and here I am trying the system out. So that is kind of the path I took to, I guess, accidentally arrive by here.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. It does seem to be that from the clients that I've talked to and the clients that Dan talked to, well, Dan has been in IT for a long time. It seems that those who are in IT catch on very quickly about what we're trying to do. Oops.
Yeah, I talk to people. It's a double-edged sword. People that come from the IT background, because you expect the same result from the same thing that you're looking at. So it's a little bit difficult coming from the IT. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right, Dave. When I first started talking to Dave, it's like we almost had like a kinship because we both came from this tech world.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, thank you so much, David, for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
Any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us before we continue here?
I would say, for those who've not tried it, you really do owe it to yourself to, test drive this. If it makes you nervous to use full contracts, I recommend using mini micro contracts. I would recommend that over paper money just because the psychology is different. You're day trading, and because it's real money, the psychology is going to be very different, and you're going to be in. It's really, I guess, the best way to test yourself. To get to know what your tendencies might be, and those things will crop up. Only when you're trading real money. So it's good to let those things come out, figure out what those, whether those tendencies are good or not. And then, once you figure that out, learning how to manage that. I think that's the most important thing.
Good words of advice. Excellent. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I want to thank you, David, too. He is a West Coast client, so it's 6 in the morning when he was waking up to get ready for this. So he made his run to Starbucks, and so we appreciate you coming on bright and early for the West Coasters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
We do have one question, if you don't mind taking one, David.
Sure.
Andre asks, the results you mentioned, how many trades per day and during what time frame?
Oh, gosh. I honestly do not remember how many trades, but it's not that many. And from what I remembered, let's say yesterday, right? I told Dan I could have made more had I been a little bit more patient instead of pulling out too quickly or going in too quickly. And that's where, like those tendencies started to come out, the fear of missing out, knowing what your profit target is, has it reached your profit target? And what is the system telling you? If the system is telling you, hey, you should probably still stay in, but have you reached your target, profit target for that particular trade? It's a judgment call. But one thing I do want to point out, at least from yesterday, that I've noticed was that, where I think I could have done better with exit was if the price is still touching the Renko cloud and is on an uptrend, it might be okay to, still stick it out. Of course, you want to confirm that with the MT OSC, but very importantly, also with the volume on the 10-minute chart. Right? There were a couple of times when I was faked out by volume on the 5-minute chart. So that's just a little nugget. But at least from the environment of yesterday, that was what I had noticed. But yeah, if I had traded less, I think I would have. Yeah, it would have been more had I stuck it out. That's just part of, I guess, learning the system.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you again, David. We really appreciate it. You have a great day out there, and we really appreciate your feedback. And if you have any ideas on improvements to the system, please contact Dan and myself. We'd love to hear from it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Thanks, Dan. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that was very exciting. I really appreciate David coming on and doing that because, I've been talking about it. Dan's been talking about it, but it's really nice to hear from a student and get their perspective for sure.
Yeah, David, if you want to throw in a chat or I can unmute you again, but you traded more than the first 2 hours, that I know. So yeah, he did close out positions later in the day. So it was more of a throughout the day thing. It wasn't only the first 2 hours, Andre.
Yep. So let's see where we are right now. So we had interesting. I mean, it's just I don't know what's going on with this market, but it just seems odd to me. It's a very, very odd market. Lots of bullishness yesterday, like David said, and today we're just kind of falling apart here. So
Interesting how it's bounced back up into the cloud again, at least on the SPX here.
Yeah, exactly. Went right. Yeah, that's the one thing about it is it did fall very, very sharply below the cloud, and then we had that reversal right back up into the cloud. So I really do like the Renko cloud. I think it's a great way to determine where fair value and the prices, because things can get overextended. Like David said, FOMO. There's the fear of missing out will propel the market higher, or if you're short, you're going to sell off more than really is warranted by the by the price data. So interesting stuff. Very interesting.
I did have one question come in from email about the new system here, and that member was putting on the Dow Jones. So they had it on the DJI index, and they were noticing the last 2 days, both SR1 and SR2 are like right on top of each other, which was interesting. I was like, oh, to be honest, I haven't even put it on those, so let me look.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and actually, it's just slightly above on the previous day.
Just barely, yeah.
Just barely, which indicated a positive bias. Yep, just barely. Wow. And then yesterday it was what? I mean, they're right on top of each other.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get anything in there.
So it wasn't quite a flip, but man, yeah, that's as close as you can get.
I can't zoom in any farther. It's definitely the same 280.
Yeah, well, that's why we dotted one of them, because otherwise you wouldn't even be able to see it. It would be covered up by the SR2. And so
interesting observation.
Yep, and so it was a bit of not a flip, but it was right on top of each other, would indicate a negative bias.
I like how it's rode right along that long-term trend line that I have. Renko cloud's right at the top of it now.
Yep, and if you notice that there's you can draw trend lines on the Renko cloud, like across the bottoms and across the tops of them. Sometimes that also gives you an idea of where the support and resistance areas are. Yeah, and if we make a new low on the Renko cloud, that's kind of a negative sign. So like on the 10-minute there that you got, if you go all the way to the left of the screen where you are, you'll see that the bottom there is right around 27. It's 2707, I think. 27207.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, right across the bottom there, which is now
the top
resistance.
Yep.
On the Renko cloud. So there's other ways to use the Renko cloud to determine price activity based on, number one, is it a green cloud or a red cloud? And number two is you can use support and resistance areas based on the levels that they're at. And, for example, yesterday, it was flat, basically green on the Dow anyway. The cloud was basically flat for a long time, and then it finally kind of rallied toward the end of the day. But there was a bottom limit there, which was right at that 27,207 level.
Mike says the cash index is not trending to the futures. Which one are you looking at? SP, NQ, DJI. So looking at the YM compared to the DJ.
Mike, that's a pretty good observation, actually. Very interesting. I started creating a little script that would plot the difference between the cash index and the futures index, the futures for the Dow and the S&P 500. I didn't see any particular pattern pop out to me. when I did that, except it kind of indicated that when the distance between the futures contract and the cash index became extended, it became a large amount, that there was a turning point at that time period. And so, I mean, I've got it loaded someplace. I can't remember the name of it now, but I did start playing around with that to see if there was any indication that would give us a, some sort of a trend signal, or maybe a trigger that indicated a reversal of trend or something like that. But that is interesting. I've been observing that as well. So the Dow is down. I mean, the cash index is down 114 points. The YM futures are only down 107. Typically, when it's positive towards the futures side, that could indicate a bullish move, but that's just speculation at this point. Anyway.
Yeah, we got 8-5 right now. Bears in the lead on the SPX at least. But on the long term, it's 9-6.
Yep.
I was just noticing as well, watching the intratrader and that fun 50% line at the same time that hit. Correlation again.
Yeah, Mike, I don't know if it would impact entry and exits. It might, but I've observed it for years. And all I can tell you is that typically when the futures don't go down as much as the cash index, it's kind of a positive indication. It's slightly bullish.
It's like they know. It's kind of like the tell, right? Oh, the futures are going as far as the index, that this is going to come back.
Exactly. And I remember back in February of 2018 when we had those 2,000 point declines, right after the close at 4 p.m. of the cash index, the futures would continue to go lower, sometimes by as much as 100 points past the cash index close. And that gave me a pretty good indication that we're going a lot lower the next day. So obviously somebody knew something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they say, someone's at behind those desks somewhere making the markets and pushing the buttons to create the prices. So.
Yep. And the one thing about surprises like this morning that I've also observed over the 40 years I've been trading is that when you have a nice bullish mark move like yesterday, they don't typically want people involved in the upside. So they will dramatically drop prices like they did this morning to scare investors off. So they don't buy while they're still taking the prices higher. And when they want you in, they will flash it, and they'll have prices going up day after day after day after day, and then everybody starts to pile in, and that's when they take it down. So those specialists, they can manipulate the market pretty easily, and that's one of the reasons why I developed these tools, is basically to kind of identify what specialists and other large players are doing in the market so that you're not fooled by it.
Just like this potential move in the last 10 minutes, look at how this dropped again, and now they're coming right back up.
Yep. And the futures are only down 74 now. So, exactly. Well, on ES down 11.
Anybody else in the room been using the new scripts at all, or have their hands on them in addition to David? Since they've been out for a few days, I'm sure quite a few people were jumping on them. I know we had one comment that was in the members area. Danny, but I don't think he's in. I think he's in a different part of the world, so he might not be awake right now. But Mark's been testing and watching. Okay, how's your testing going so far?
Terrific. Oh, good, Mark.
Good.
Yeah, paper trade it. Do whatever you need to do to get comfortable. Kind of figure out the system. But yeah, absolutely.
Mark's
Awesome.
up the charts. Very good. We got two marks. We got the battling marks.
Capital M and small m, man.
Right. Shankar's test note yesterday looking good. Excellent to hear.
Good, 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 good.
Use it on paper. Entries in next sync. So
Awesome.
on using live. What do you mean the entries and the exits don't sync?
Oh, it's because he's using paper trading. Mike, are
Gotcha.
you if you're delayed on the paper trading account, if you're outside the U.S., I think the TD Ameritrade support will not upgrade you to a real-time data feed on paper trades. If you're inside the U.S., you can contact support and have them upgrade you to a real-time feed on the paper trading account.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a pain.
Yeah, a 15-minute delayed is almost like
An entirety.
yeah, and there's no way you're going to be able to catch the signals if you're on a 15-minute delay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You'll get crushed for sure.
yeah,
Or either that, or you'll make a ton of money and you won't know why.
exactly. Yeah. Alex says you can open a live cash account without money and get real data. Yeah, if you're in the, I believe.
Yeah, as long as you're in their approved list of countries.
Yeah, if you're in the list of approved countries, absolutely. Oh, you're in Germany. Okay, so TD Ameritrade accepts accounts from Germany, so that's cool. That's
They
interesting.
should. They make all the good stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it, Sean? Sean got his hands on it.
Yeah, Sean got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Welcome to our world with Sean. You know, we're so busy that even I have a hard time finding trade. Like David was hitting me up yesterday on our chat, and he's like, "Don't tell me you're out running errands again." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a pain because life gets in the way and you can't trade all the time."
Right. Exactly. Brian asked, "Can you talk about what's happening with the MTs? The swing oscillator right now is telling you at this point." Yeah, it's definitely pointing downward. So there's downward pressure on stocks. We're getting, you can see from the volume though, that we're getting a pretty sharp rebound in the price that sold off this morning. So at this point, you got a conflict, right? You got the oscillator pointing down and you've got the volume telling you that price is going to go higher. We're probably going to hit SR2, which is interestingly enough right at the top of the Renko cloud. So the oscillator will give you an idea of what the trend is, and that's why also we have a downtrend arrow on that one bar. So there's bearishness here, but the volume to me is one of the most important things because it tells you that hey, you know, the participants are coming in and they're buying up or they're short covering. So
Yeah,
anybody who was short into this, yeah, anybody who was short into this is covering their shorts maybe because it is awfully large. That volume number typically, like I said yesterday,
that's
typically
a big number.
kind of caps out at 0.2 or 2.0. And it's at 1.8. That typically does not happen on a single bar. So I'm thinking it's kind of like short covering. We'll see.
I noticed that yesterday that it was extreme volume with all the bears going up. If you compare that when it took the turn, right, all the way back to 2 days ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, that one's bigger than all of them. There, it's almost going to hit 2.
Yeah, that's a pretty big move on the 10-minute. Yeah, so that number on the synthetic volume changes with the time frame. On the 4-hour chart, typically it goes between -10 and +10, and we're almost at 8 right now. So we're getting up pretty close to that level. On the 10-minute chart, it's like between 2 and -2. So that is indicating to me, the oscillator is telling you that, hey, we're probably still in a downtrend here, and the volume is telling me it's just short covering.
Because that was a big move.
Yep.
There was a lot of shorts in there, so a lot of closing out.
Yep. You're welcome. You're welcome, Brian. Mark says, most of all, I love the logic and that they are data-driven. Yep. Like the vol market and market timer system like no other truly. Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah. Appreciate that.
He said it was a plus 20 on the Dow Jones. I haven't looked and see what extremes are on the Dow Jones yet.
Yeah, they're going to vary by the instrument as well as the time frame. Yeah, that might be normal. Yeah, so look at the negative one there, minus 20 right there, right at the bottom.
A couple times, boom.
Boom. Yep, and those are all bottoms. Pretty much except that one. That was pretty negative, but we had a...
kept going.
Oh, so here's a good... here's also a pretty good tip is the divergences. So, for example, we had the bottom there on the volume at minus 20. If you draw a line from that to the next bottom of the volume, and then do the same for price at the same time frame. Yep, right there to about the bottom of that negative bar. And so you should have expected a pretty good bounce at that point, which you got before it went negative again. So those kind of divergences are really nice for little short-term trades.
A little setup for the next morning, it looks like.
Yeah. And so you want to keep an eye on those divergences. Those are kind of those are something that I look at. But generally, if the volume is positive, then you want to stay long. If it goes negative, you want to be short.
Yeah, we got a negative 20 to a positive 20 all in this morning.
Wow. Yeah, see and that's also kind of a substitute for volatility in general. So where's the VIX now? I got to take a look and see where the VIX is, because if the VIX is trending, see, it's not even that high. It's like 12.7. So interesting. But we certainly got the bounce that we were looking for based on Mark's comment about the futures. I do keep an eye on that. Plus, we were very far away from the cloud, had huge upward volume. Interesting during this little move, though, higher. I mean, that's a pretty decent move. What was the low on that S&P 500 bar? 3,000?
3?
And we're all the way up to, it's a 10-point move on the S&P.
Yeah.
And that's a big move.
After a 15-point move down.
Exactly. And the oscillator right now still hasn't moved. Now we got 2 more minutes before the next bar form. Let's see if the oscillator flattens out or goes higher. If it stays flat, that means there's no actual real buying, and this is only short covering. So let's see. We'll give it 2 more minutes.
They're coming right back up to the open. It's like it never happened. That's what they like to do. Bam, bam.
Yeah.
Well, that's just my toss being funny. While we're waiting, Mark says, what about our lovely spreadsheet?
Yeah, big hard landing, -0 to -5 yesterday. Yesterday's move was anticipated. We went from 1 to a -0, but we had a ROC that was declining. So we anticipate, the big move yesterday was on the continuation. So we had a continuation on the H4 chart, which clued us in on a negative day yesterday. Today, that was yesterday. Big continuation move. Today, we have a positive bias because the one thing that I focused in on when it came to the TSA announcement was the trend was at -2. Nearly every single time we've gotten to a -2 or a +2, that indicates a change in the trend. And so if we hit a -99 yesterday and we had a -2 on the trend, that typically spells the end of it. And I think we start trending a little bit higher here now. The opening did call for a lower opening, down opening, because we had a upward slope on the 1 minute chart going into the open. So we got the down move right around the open, and then an up move for the day.
Big up move too. That's a 0.26 5-minute bar.
Yeah, that's a big one. And that was basically because of that -2 on the trend. Yeah, and the binary trend was negative. But that trend column on the spreadsheet was just kind of flashing, because almost every time it's reached a -2, that indicates a reversal. Hopefully that was helpful. All right, let's see where that second bar. So we're flat on the oscillator, and now we're above the cloud. So I would kind of look at possibly taking a little short in there. Although the volume, man, whew.
It's pretty high, even though it's decreasing. It's pretty high.
Yeah, but it's still really high. It's crazy. I would give it a little bit of time and see, but.
David, what would you do? Just kidding. We'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, like you did Tuesday. I took a live trade while I was in the room. Today I'm going to take it easy. I've been using the script to trade every single day, just having so much fun with it. Today I'm going to take a break. But typically with the oscillator, either flat or not moving higher would indicate to me that we're probably going to go back down a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of like my gyro curves. Are we true north or what?
And look, and even though it's small, we went from 1.8 to 1.7 to 1.6. So yeah, the volume's definitely coming down.
Yeah, it's still pretty high though. But
right. There's this fluctuating 1.7. So that's some of the things that we watch. So yeah, test it out. Give us your feedback. Have fun with it. This is definitely, I think one of the comments I thought it was fantastic that David made to me, I think it was Tuesday, the first day, when he first started trading. He's like, this is like a video game. I'm like, how ridiculous is that?
It was funny that he texted you that, because I actually thought the exact same thing when I started using it. It is. It's like Mario Brothers. I'm dating myself, I think, but playing Mario Brothers when my kids were small, and we'd jump up and down. It would jump. Mario would just jump up and down, and that's basically what you're doing with the prices in the Renko cloud.
Yeah, we're just collecting coins and collecting money. It's like a cash machine, like you said weeks and months ago.
Exactly.
And what's not like I want to tell people that think about it like funny money, but that's almost, which goes to the same reason why they use chips in casinos, because you don't see it as money, is you almost have to look at this as not dollars and take it into, hey, these are units, and this is the expectation, and this is the probability of what this number is going to do. Like, make it not a dollar, make it something else, and that'll totally change your psychology.
Yes, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. And the odds are so much better. I mean, talk about putting you go to the casino, you have some sort, hopefully you have some sort of a system, but still the odds are just so much against you. With this, it puts the odds so much more in your favor. It's just incredible. Yeah. They try in a casino as much as possible to eliminate your thoughts of actual cash being passed back and forth.
Right.
They give you the chips. Oh, they're nice, cute little, chips. They're heavy too. I mean, there's a whole psychology behind it. I mean, they're heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not lightweight. They've got some substance to them.
Yeah, they make sounds when you cling them together. People make music with them, all kinds of fun.
Yep. They're color coded. Kind of tells you that, hey, the green ones, and then there's red ones, and then the black ones are the really expensive ones. So
2.4.
now, see, that's typically the kind of volume you see at the end of a move.
Coming to SR1.
Yeah, looks like it's going to head right up to SR1, then maybe take a break here.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. They're going to sit here and go like this all day. They're like, all right, we're back to where we started. Let's go to lunch.
Yeah.
Early lunch is Thursday.
Yeah, and it's interesting that SR1 is above SR2, which indicates a positive day as well.
Right. Which makes this all the more interesting.
Yep. With the old Renko chart before Andrew did some modifications to the new Renko chart, you could set the ATR to anything that you wanted, the brick size rather, based on the ATR. And I experimented a little bit with different settings, and you could make the brick size very, very small on a chart and almost use it like a moving average.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I like this better because it gives you actual true value. And so I don't know if you did, I don't know if you know this or not, but I think we chatted about it, but and I know Asham, I think, sent something to Jill asking her about the Renko chart as well. Because she passed me that email, but basically the Renko chart that we're using now, Andrew was able to modify. By the way, Andrew is in Colombia on vacation. I haven't heard from him in a couple of weeks, and he emailed me yesterday. He said he's on vacation. He's always on vacation.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I know. It's like he just went on vacation a couple of months ago. I'm very envious.
Yeah, tell him to bring his laptop next time.
Yeah, definitely. But what he did was he said, okay, if you take a look at the ATR, in fact, you pointed this out when we first started using the Renko Cloud, is that you do the ATR at the current level. Well, that level can change, obviously, based on the price data. So the system is using a Renko Cloud that Andrew modified in order to take the average of the last 120-day 20-period bars. So it doesn't matter what time frame you're on, it's always going to have the most recent average of the 120-bar ATR as the brick size, which is fantastic because now you can just put it on anything that you want and it'll automatically calculate the correct ATR and the brick size, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Excuse me. So nice not having to worry about modifying things.
Right. You don't have to worry about a thing. The only thing that you could change if you wanted to was the length of the periods of the ATR. It's defaulted to 120, but it could go, you could do it for the last 30 days or 50 days, but I think 120 is probably a pretty good and accurate reading of the ATR so that you avoid some of the spikes in the ATR or the drops in the ATR based on volatility. And you get the really, really good average true range for the brick size. Might ask you to use the H4 for trading, day trading at all, or only for swings. I look at the H4 only to kind of give me an idea what the longer term view of the system is telling me. So like yesterday, we just closed so far above that cloud. It kind of said, hey, look, you better not take a long position at this point. That's the only thing I kind of look at it. I just kind of look at it to see where we are from the cloud, what the signals are as far as the oscillator goes. And it was pretty close to the top. When you get into that 8, 9, 10 range in the oscillator, it's pretty close to the top. Just like the last top was I think it hit a 10.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, and we were above the cloud at that time. We dropped pretty sharply the very next day. So,
Interesting. Look what we did there. Dropped way down and then it closed up. But obviously it gapped down, so it's still a down day.
mm-hmm.
Compare that to this.
And that looks like it was a holiday or something, wasn't it? Or what is that?
Maybe that was 4th of July.
Oh, July 4th, yeah. July 4th holiday. Yep. See, look at the oscillator now dropping down to -2. So obviously the internals, oscillator is based on market internals, and it's a real-time oscillator. The yellow line is real time. The other two are averages of that oscillator, and so it's telling you that, hey, I think we're going back down again, because so now all you really need is volume to confirm that. But yeah, the internals are not looking good.
MT vols coming up. BOP curve's a little putsy right now. There's definitely bearish hurting.
Yeah, and you're on the NASDAQ there too. The NASDAQ, I think, is weaker than almost all the other indexes today.
Yeah, 0.5% down.
Yeah.
Over.
So yeah, so the YMNQ must be up quite a bit then, right at this point. It must be up pretty sharply. Mike says, just thought that since the H4 is at the top, that the 10-minute bias would be down. H4 is at the top. I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean, Mike.
You mean up here, that it's above the cloud?
Yeah, if you mean it's above the cloud. Oh, yeah, okay. Yep, absolutely. That's correct. That is absolutely correct. That's the correct way to read the H4. If you're doing day trading, you're going to look at the H4, just kind of see where you are in relation to the cloud and what the volume and the swing oscillator is telling you. And when we hit that +10 on the oscillator and we're above the cloud like that, that's definitely a warning sign. I didn't think it would take place like this, though. I mean, I would not have been short, I don't think, this morning. I would just be cautious to go long. I don't think I would have taken a short position, though. Shakar says, on the news scripts, is there a way to know whether we are on the wrong side of the trade, maybe after a few minutes in or a few bars out? Well, number one, you should never be on the wrong side of the trade. But yeah, those things will definitely happen. I guess the way to tell if you're on the wrong side of the trade is if you get a very, very sharp decline in the volume. Like if you're long and all of a sudden you get a really sharp decline in the volume, that's a pretty good indication you're on the wrong side. And if you're short the futures and you get an uptick in volume, then yeah, you want to be careful that you're not on, you want to kind of watch that very, very carefully. But otherwise, the volume, volume is the one I would look at. As if it's not following price, if it's not going up with price, then I wouldn't chase it. Oh, Voltaire, hey man, I haven't heard from you in a long time. How you doing? Hey, David, and still trying to catch up on the videos, but do we have the modified Renko available already? I can't seem to find a download page. The modified Renko is part of the Strong Market system for swing and day trading. I think the regular one is someplace in the download area.
Yeah, the original one is in the downloads page, or actually it's in, it's not in the downloads page because it's only for VA clients and above. So it's in the volatility arbitrage class in those downloads.
It's in the VA class. Okay, gotcha.
But that's not the one that automatically updates. That's the automatic update one. That's part of the swing system is from Strong Market with the new swing bundle for this automatic Renko cloud that we're looking at here, Voltaire.
Sham says, David, curious if one could perhaps use the new Renko script on the Valar. And well, it's only for the. I don't know if you could or not. I mean, if you wanted to, if you already have if you have the swing day trading scripts, you could try using it. The problem is, I think with the Valar, I've tried to use it on the Valar, the automatic adjusting one. It doesn't seem to work as well because you're basically, you're spreading two instruments. It doesn't seem to be very helpful to me. I would use the regular Renko script for that because then you can adjust the ATR yourself, or the brick size rather. So I tried it. It didn't seem to work very well for me. But you can try it, but I don't think it works as well. I would use regular.
If you find something, come let us know.
Yeah, test it though. Let us know. Yeah, I've tried it. It doesn't look right.
Right on. We're getting close to the top of the hour. Any final questions? Let us know, or we'll be wrapping it up for the week. I get to hop on a plane tomorrow morning, so for those that I chat with offline, I won't be available tomorrow morning.
No camping tomorrow?
No camping this weekend. I'm actually going to get a new truck to pull the camper.
Oh, nice, nice.
So yeah, that was part of my work this week, was setting up this deal. I'm actually flying to Idaho, buying this truck and driving it home tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, we're in Idaho. Idaho.
The dealership's literally across the street from Boise Airport.
Oh really? Oh man, I got a good friend in Boise.
Yeah, I'm dropping in there, and he's picking me up with the truck from the airport. The salesman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this place is ridiculous. If everyone's ever looking for the best price on a truck, these guys will not be undersold in the entire country. Obviously, It all comes down to if you're closer and you can actually do it. They sell like 4,000 under book. It's ridiculous.
Wow. How can they afford to do that?
It's a volume thing, and they make money on the financing.
Holy cow.
So the exact same thing, because I got people that I'm in with, sales managers. So we usually buy our cars from the same people. And I tripped across this. I said, hey, can you use this to lower your cost? He says, I don't know how they're doing it, man. He's like, they're selling under book. I don't know what their end game is. So I told him, I said, hey, what's your end game here, guys? How are you guys staying in business? And he said, well, I'll tell you straight up, we make this much. Here's what my commission is. Here's what the dealership makes. It's all about like 90 cars to cover it. They make a point on the financing. So that's, at least I'm like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I can see people flying in from, different areas, How far of a drive is it for you?
A day.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth it to save $4,000.
Right. Yeah. I'll drive for a day for $5,000.
It's even worth it for me to fly out from New York to get one of those.
Right. I'm trying to think about it. Can I make a business out of this and, buy and sell trucks, but I get killed on the taxes?
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's great. My friend who lives in Boise,
See, David.
He drives a tractor trailer all over the country. He was in Pennsylvania just a couple of days ago, so I don't think he's in Boise now, but you two guys would get along fantastically, I'm sure. Yeah, you just really, I think, hit it off. Yeah, but too bad he's not going to be there. He'd probably take you to lunch or something, but.
Mark, I got it. It's right around a 30-footer. If you count the tongue, it's 33, 34 feet. So it's right on the edge of, I want a bigger one to be comfortable, because we're actually going to be going up into Canada in August, going up to Banff. So we're taking a long trip for 2 weeks. So I'm upgrading from the half-ton to the 1 ton.
See you, David. Thank you so much again for your coming on board here in the room and giving us your feedback. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. Well, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you again next Tuesday. Good luck with that new truck. Send me a picture.
Absolutely.
Yes. Are we still going to be able to meet tomorrow then?
Actually, I was going to let you know. I'll probably chat with you on my way back. So it might be a couple
Okay.
hours later.
Sure, that sounds good.
But yeah, I'll give you a heads up on times.
Beautiful. All right, look like that oscillator is really dropping, guys. I would expect another move lower.
Sure.
All right, have a great day, guys, and we'll see you next Tuesday. See you, Dan.
Everyone have a good weekend.
Yep, bye.